So, it's nice that we're in 2026. We can look back on all our past endeavors and past decisions, and we can analyze them today and process all of that and see how we process it today from when we processed it then. You know, that rant video that I made. I'm gonna do the reverse psychology, touch it up on it, and kind of like y'all can decipher what I mean, kind of thing. So it's like saying things without saying things about Miss A. Um, so, you know, I'm not a saint. I was mischievous as a teenager, you know, and rebellious, if you will, and whatever, but I never was a sexual person. Because of the upbringing and everything that I've seen going on and stuff like that. Um, I would be like 8 years old. I'd be sleeping on the couch in the living room. My sister would be like screwing some guy like on the floor next to the couch, and I would look over and I'd be like, mortified. And she'd be like, "Go to sleep, KK," you know. So I've never been in that limelight, never wanted to be in that limelight. And I figured when I'd get there, I would get there when I was ready to get there. So I've never been into that thing. I've never been promiscuous with boyfriends or anything like that. It was always, they would initiate conversation or in that manner or whatever. I would never egg something on or antagonize anything. Obviously, if you know my journey up to now, then self explanatory of why. Um, I have never, ever, 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 ever posted pictures of me in a bra and underwear on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok with captions like, "Oh, I'm so proud of my body and I love myself," and stuff like that. Or promiscuous pictures of the sorts for millions and billions of people to see. I have never been trifling to come on to another woman or another girlfriend's man, even if I thought that I could try and catch him in something and then go back to her and tell her what everything is. I would never. Um, because regardless if you're doing something to be mischievous or you're doing something just to be a see you next Tuesday, that's not my lane. I don't do that because that can come off in so many ways and be viewed in so many ways. And that's not what I'm all about. I have never cheated. I got into a situation where I was talking to people online. That wasn't what it was, but I've only been all about my man for 25, 26 years now, so nobody's ever been there in all that time. So basically, there's never been any contact, never been any face to face. So never physically ever. Now I put them in their face because now I can see the red flags that I could not see then. I have never, like, when we're mad at our friends and whatever, we talk shit and we say some things out of anger or frustration or whatever, but of course we don't mean it. We're just angry, right? But I've never, like, true heartedly been nice to somebody's face and then talk shit behind their back, like mad shit. Like, the whole gifted part, like, part of it, part of my premonitions, like when I say I have broken premonitions, part of that is like I've been friends with her for over 20 years, and if you know, you know. And that whole time, I would get inclinations in my brain that she was talking shit about me behind my back. But I would always say, no, that's not true because she would never do that. But her actions coming into adulthood, I mean, she was like 18 when we were friends then, so I mean, but you know what I mean by adulthood, familyhood, motherhood, wifehood, whatever. I've never, you know, she has changed. I can totally tell that, like, influence and the people that she has around her um, deciphers her main being, and everyone that surrounds her kind of like she consumes it all like a spiritual vampire, they consume it all. They take it in. I've never like I've had thought about stuff like, I wish I could do this, I wish I could do that. I've never cursed anybody that didn't deserve it, or I didn't curse anybody to a point to where bad things had happened and result to it. I don't really do the curses with my practice. I do a lot of binding. If I have an issue that needs to be resolved and I want to tackle it or handle the risk and have a resolution, then I I usually turn to binding. I use a picture and I do the binding method. If you know, you know. With the ribbon. Yeah, or sometimes I'll use a piece of fabric. If I don't have a ribbon. But I try to do like, you know, just harmless things. Like give somebody a realization or give somebody a wake up call, like mentally, or that they would think about something or feel emotion, just that kind of thing. Because I am Earth. I am, there's a couple of them. There's Earth Witch, Kitchen Witch, Garden Witch, you know, basically that's, and, like birds and butterflies and ladybugs and stuff like that. I've noticed I've always like just swarmed around me and stuff, but I've never, and that's why I said that I was proud that I had kept my integrity and my self being, never changed who I was, because that's basically what I meant. I mean, I'm sure influence got me along the way quite a bit, and maybe I didn't realize it a lot of the time. But that's a part of growing and the part of growing up and a part of maturing. And you gotta make mistakes to learn from your mistakes. But that's the point, learn from your mistakes, not keep repeating them over and over and over again. And so there's that. And to the part two, that was the opening, and to the part two is basically to close that. because I didn't close that last one. I just abruptly ended it. Um, we should not have to go to those lengths to feel protected or feel safe or to, my husband's playing a game. Um, we shouldn't have to feel terrified or scared or worried or concerned to a point to where we're making ourselves sick because we don't know how to handle a situation. So, and then when it's a life or death situation, or it's a kill or be killed situation, or close to, and women do grow the balls in that split second and protect themselves, they end up in prison or they end up in jail and they end up shunned and they're considered a convict or they're considered a, whatever the case may be. And, just like they were Jeffrey or if they were Epstein or some like that, like that's how they're viewed, and nobody knows nor do they even care about their story or their situation or their thoughts or feelings of how or why they did what they did or in that hindsight. And that's my point. Women need to support women. Women need to be there for women. Women need to protect women because if we don't, nobody will. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you like this video. Until next time, stay beautiful and live your best life.